Yeah.
That's fucking raw.
That's wrong.
Thank you guys.
Good stuff. That's cool.
Good night,
All right.
guys.
You hear that? The podcast setup is dope. It's
Like it.
raw.
Like it.
We like it raw, don't we, Dina?
Oh wait, is there a link, Gio?
Yeah, yeah.
Me, I'll post it.
That's what we do when we talk about our weekend. So before you post it, you can do it while I'm talking about my weekend or Terry's talking about his weekend. So welcome back to the Blame Girl podcast with
Mr. Terry Wayne in the raw.
and we got Dina.
I thought guys are the ones that like it in the raw. What happened?
Everybody likes it in the raw. That's a lie.
Well, who doesn't? Yeah.
And we've got Dina in the house. Thank you, Dina Cruz, for joining us.
Of course.
How was your weekend?
My weekend's been fun filled, right? Bringing joy to the masses.
You have some shows you do this weekend?
I did. I actually did a show last night not last night. Yeah, last night for Miami Comedy at Limonada in South Beach. Friday.
Limonada?
Yeah, it's lemonade.
No, I know what it means, but that sounds
fancy.
It sounds fancy as fuck, right?
It really
No,
does.
you ain't gotta put all the Hispanic.
Limonada?
You ain't gotta put all the Hispanic on it. It makes me feel a certain way being the whitest man ever.
Lemonade.
But that's probably what it's called. It's in Miami. Shut
It's
up,
nothing.
Terry.
It's just sugar,
Shut the
water, and
whitewash
lemon.
stuff, Terry.
That's right. I know.
Sugar, water, and lemon. Nothing special.
All right.
Yeah.
So
More about your weekend.
Friday was at Las Palmas for a Funny and Pink show, which actually Gio is on the calendar too.
Yes.
Miss July over
I am
here.
Miss July,
I'm Miss
you're
May.
Oh my God,
So,
girl. Your
so, yeah.
picture is fire. And it's given Miss Parker.
Hey,
It's giving Miss Parker. Y'all gotta get this calendar. You gotta donate.
Yeah, that's the least amount of clothing that I've worn in like a whole year, which is crazy because we live in South Florida, right? So you would think,
If
it's wild.
I look like that, I'd be more naked. You
Nah,
gotta get
nah.
this calendar.
I mean, I'd be naked in my house, but
All right, so you did
Tell us more about that.
you did these Friday, Saturday shows.
right.
What about Sunday?
Nah, Sunday I stayed home. The Lord's Day. We rest.
Girl.
Yeah.
What about Monday?
So we actually just finished doing a mic at Dania North.
Yes.
Super fire. It's connected to the Dania Beach Improv. So
Yeah.
that was definitely a lot of fun.
We stream from here very often.
A lot of fun, good times.
All right, Terry, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. Had my father-in-law in town all of last week. I like no, thankfully no. Not that I don't like my father-in-law. I like him very much. I think
Your
he's
father-in-law is very likable. I like your father.
he is very smart. He is a good conversationalist. But after 10 days, I don't care if it was my own father. Like, it's nice to get a break, get back to your life. But no, we ended up driving about 3.5 hours across the state over to Memphis, my hometown, because he wanted to see it. So we just took a day trip and just drove over there. And I got to have my favorite Memphis thing ever, which is Gus's fried chicken. Everybody goes there and they're like, oh, give me barbecue, because we're famous for that. But Gus's fried chicken, man, it's worth the drive just by itself. I mean, to be honest, it really is.
What's different about Gus's fried chicken that makes it?
Okay, imagine like KFC original recipe, like the original recipe, right? Where it's not, but it's crispy and they did it perfect, like to where the spice is just right. And and the spice levels are right, and all the stuff they put, all the seasonings are perfect. It's one of those things where you can eat it, and then like 20 minutes later, you're still tasting it.
So it's like original recipe when they were using real chicken.
Yeah, exactly, and not pigeons or whatever they're on right now. But
talking to Terry makes me hungry because Terry Terry can cook very well himself, right?
And
I miss him. He left Florida. He's in Tennessee now, and he doesn't cook. I can't go to dinners at Terry's, and I hate it.
And the greens there are some of the best I've the best I've ever had. And the fried okra, it's just perfect. It's just perfect.
Fried okra and green.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, Memphis is the buckle of the Bible Belt, man. That's what we do. So
you ate this weekend and hung out with your father-in-law. Fun.
yeah, he got to meet my family. We came over, did a game night. That was fun.
Who
yeah.
won?
I won once, and then who else won? My brother-in-law Sean was the other winner.
All right. My weekend was pretty fun filled. I started off at Doghouse Theater Friday. Saturday I did the Florida's Funniest leg in Fort Pierce.
How was that?
It was pretty good. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was at Sunrise Theater. Never been there, so that was awesome that I got the opportunity just to touch a new stage. And then Franco Harris and Danny Johnson won. Franco's been on the show. Yeah, so he's a friend of the show, and he be blaming, but he do. But yeah, so that was fun. And then Sunday night, like we talked about, I was at the red light leg of the Funny and Pink. We're doing shows all over South Florida to promote the calendars. Again, get your calendars. Check my Instagram out for more information. And then tonight, here I am, Monday night, 14 North, Daiquiri Bar. I be blaming. So I want to start blaming again. Let's get to it. So everybody knows about Jada and fucking Will Smith. Way too much information at this point. And I've got my opinions. I don't know that Jada's all to blame, but I think a lot of people think it is. But regardless of that, the Smith house is crazy. They say they've been separated for 7 years. They're trying to get back together. Who's to blame? Why is this such a crazy family household? Dina, you want to go first? You look like you ready to pop off.
I just like at this point I'm waiting for Tupac to call us and be like, stop talking about me, bitch. Like
yeah. I feel like she's taking Tupac's name in vain a little.
Like it's wild. Like I'm ready for him to be like, I can't even fake my own death in peace. Like this is retarded. Like
you know? Oh, we using big words, I say.
You know, no, I just feel like it's too much. Yeah. It's too much. Like, I mean, we've all had toxic relationships, right? Like we could all like step on a soapbox and talk about how like, oh, this person did this or that person did that and point a whole bunch of fingers. But it's just like, I feel like I know more about her and Will than I do my own divorce. Like it's wild.
This is what happens, I think, when you don't get a divorce. You know, like when you don't get a divorce, this is what you get. Like maybe they should have gotten a divorce and she could have talked about it 7 years ago and we could have moved on.
Yeah.
Terry, what do you think?
Well, first and foremost, I want to point out the fact that I'm the one that brought this story to the podcast, not you. I picked this one.
Okay.
Mainly because the house of Smith
like,
is.
I didn't.
Well, I just thought it was interesting. The house of Smith is just in complete disarray, and the ones that I feel worst about, and you're gonna feel a certain way about this. But yeah, I blame Jada 100%. You can tell that she runs, that her house is total matriarchy. Like you can tell she runs that house. I mean, not to mention just the fact that she's hooking up with her son's friends openly, and it's just like whatever. Now maybe you're together, maybe you're not. But I don't know if you know what that does to the male ego, but it does a lot. Like it does some things.
I am biting.
Huh?
I am biting my tongue right now.
Okay, and that's fine. I just want it to be known that, in my opinion, most people, and when I say most people, I mean about 75 to 80% of people, if Jada Pinkett Smith was not married to Will Smith, nobody would know who Jada Pinkett is nowadays. Because, I mean, yeah, she was big when Set It Off came out. You
Speaking of
know,
Black Lady, Terry, I think you underestimate.
like I said, I said 75%. I started there. Now just remember that the Black community only constitutes about 19% of America. So I feel like I'm being accurate here. I think that it's definitely gone to her head a lot. And I think that Hollywood got to Jada in the early years because all that I'm getting out of this, the whole book and the interviews and all this is like, I'm going to live my truth and I'm going to be me and do this. And it's all very new agey and it sounds like something somebody that owns a lot of crystals would tell you. You like some bullshit like that.
We'll say that.
And the ones that I feel worst about are the kids because, you know, it's hard enough growing up, right? All by itself. It's hard enough being a teenager, going into your 20s, learning to be an adult. That's hard enough as it is. It's 100 times harder trying to do that in Hollywood with famous parents. And then it's 100 times harder than that when your mom won't stop running her mouth about her marriage and relationship and personal things that shouldn't be shared with others.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I think. I think that people all want to ignore Will Smith's infidelities that he had going on. He hooked up with Eva Mendes allegedly and with Margot Robbie allegedly. And that's when the break happened. And he talked about it in his book first. But everyone wants to blame the Black woman, of course. So that's not who I blame. I blame them both because that's how they're running their household. They're both okay with saying, we're going to stay together whether we're miserable or not. Because like I said, they should have gotten a divorce a long time ago. And this wouldn't even be a big issue to where we have to hear about it constantly. Now they're trying to repair their relationship. Like, do that outside of the public eye. We are tired.
We don't need to be a part of this. We don't need to be a part of this anymore. Like, and by the way, I'm not blaming the Black woman, Gio, relax. I'm blaming who I feel is in charge, right? I always blame whoever's in charge. I don't care what kind of relationship you have. I don't care how progressive you think you might be. I've been in a bunch of relationships.
I've married. Blaming her for.
I'm not. But I've been in a bunch. I've been in a bunch of relationships. I've been married twice. I can tell you, I don't care what the relationship is. There's always a chief and an Indian. I don't care if it's 49% to 51%. Somebody makes the final call. Somebody's got a little more equity than the other, and I think it's her.
So I think at this point, their household is in such a disarray. I don't think either one of them is calling the shots. I think they're just operating in a mode of who can one up the other one.
I can see that.
Could be.
Honest with you, I get what you're saying in the sense that, like, okay, yeah, he talked about his infidelities first in his book or whatever the case may be, but he's not out here like on a book tour, like having interviews and vocally saying, oh yeah, you know, Tupac was my soulmate, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like that,
that one hurts more.
Doing the most. Yeah.
That one hurts more. My soulmate.
To another level, you know.
Yeah.
Which is
it's not the father of my children. It's this one dude I used to hook up with.
A woman, and I will say it as a woman, like like when we go for it, we go for the jugular. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we hold nose bars.
That's like what
jokes, girl. I know.
That's like what I think Louis C.K. said it perfect. He said, a man will beat the shit out of you or cut your arm off, but a woman will shit inside of your heart. Like she'll ruin who you are as a person.
Yeah.
It's different levels of violence.
It is.
You know?
It is. Yeah. We're fucking good at some shit. No,
I thought Gio would be all over the fact that I said Jada was in charge of the house. You know, that's very, empowering.
I don't care who's in charge of the house. This is what I think from my sources, because I listen to a lot of Gossip Girls. Will cheated first. Eva Mendes, Margot Robbie flaunted it, kissing them in the mouth in public.
Then she should have
had enough, so they separated. But Will said we ain't ever getting divorced. So I don't think it's Jada. I think it's men. Women are never
okay. Well, first of all, Will doesn't have the right to say we ain't never getting divorced. If she wants to divorce him, she can divorce him.
Wait a minute, time out, pause.
You don't need permission.
You
Wait a
do
minute.
actually.
Wait a minute.
No, you don't.
So as a divorced woman,
As a divorced man.
I will tell you that that when I asked for my divorce, my former spouse was
Mhm.
not ready to get divorced. So I had to stay married for another 2 years until he found a girlfriend who is his current wife.
Mm-hmm.
He did not want to let me go. So I am a woman who walked away from my divorce with nothing. Not even the home that I invested in, not even like the furniture I bought. Literally the refrigerator I bought, he kept that shit. It's still in his rental property today. So I get it. Like I understand when a man doesn't want to let you go and there's finances tied up, and obviously there are both moguls. So there's a lot of finances tied up in between the relationship. So I can understand where she's coming from to a certain extent. But again, I just feel like she talks too much. She just
Okay.
needs to shut the fuck up. Like,
I'm sorry, but when it comes to family court, women have the total advantage, first of all. Second of
not
all,
always, Terry.
especially when there are children involved,
It's
which is
50-50 in Florida.
which is why the
Florida.
custody rate for moms over dads is more than 90%.
I think that's
There's a reason.
because of nature, Terry.
that
It
might
is
have
because of
been
nature.
true.
Men
And I'm
abandon their
not-
kids.
That might
I'm
have
not
been
disagreeing.
true 10 years
I am-
ago. But
Listen,
there are a
I'm
lot
not
of
even saying
the
it's a
big
bad
states,
thing.
like Florida, New York, California, where 50-50 is the common rule,
Yeah.
unless one parent is unfit.
And I think that's fine. And I actually agree. I mean, I'm a child of divorce who lived with my mom primarily. I completely agree with that. And I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just stating it as a fact. And secondly, yes, you do not need the other person's permission. Now, maybe sometimes, like you said, there's finances involved and people want to string it out and draw it out. But no, you don't need the other person's permission to get divorced. It just makes it harder to do it, because think about how many domestic
It does
violence
make it harder to do it. If they don't
cases
comply,
and they could get held up for years. I mean, when I told my first wife that I wanted a divorce, she left the country and I was still able to do it. You know what I mean?
All right.
So
You know what? Speaking of leaving the country, thank you for that segue.
you're
Black
welcome.
Americans are doing that. Okay. And they are doing it at an exponential rate. I couldn't really read the article because you needed a thing for Rolling Stones, but nonetheless, I know that Black Americans are leaving the country. Who's to blame, guys? Why do you think that they're doing that and that's even possible?
Well, why don't you go first on this one, Gio?
Okay, I think it's capitalism.
Mm.
I think that we're suffering over here, and it's cheaper to live in other countries. I watch all the TikToks, and they're leaving because it's like you can get a much nicer place for your buck if you're working virtually. It's the virtual economy too. So that's what I think.
Well, let me fill you in because I did read the full article.
Also, America does not love Black people.
That's now see, that is where the crux of it. That's why I put that article in there. It wasn't Rolling Stone, it was the LA Times. And no, they did a story and interviewed several people who were expats, Black Americans who decided to leave. Number one reason given was systemic racism that still affected them to this day. And they're like, no, we just want to be judged in, the way that people should be judged, how much money they have.
I want to like
and they said we can do that by going to Costa Rica. And that's when they interviewed these Black Americans that had moved to Costa Rica because they had found, some success and some wealth. And they said, I'll take my wealth and go to Costa Rica and live over there. And it's because of the pandemic, because they realized that a lot of these jobs could be easily done remotely. And all the ones they interviewed were people that worked for big companies, but worked remotely. And now they do it from Costa Rica.
Let me just throw this in here too, because I have friends that left the country to go live in Spain for a little bit to raise their kids. Another reason
Yeah.
they gave was they don't want their kids to be shot by the police or in school.
That's racism. Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Okay. So what about you, Dina? What do you think here? Why do you think
Um,
choosing to leave?
because America fucking sucks right now. like, let's be real, right? Like, honestly, it's crazy because even as a Latina, like I've been thinking lately, like I'm just gonna stay here till my kid graduates from high school, and once she's off to college, like I'm done. Like I'm good.
Where would you go?
I have no idea, but at this point, like my job is so remote and comedy is like a worldwide thing. Like I'm down to go live in Spain.
Yeah.
Why? The cost of living is cheaper. People actually respect each other. Absolutely.
Yeah, in Spain it
The
is.
cost
In
of living
Spain?
is cheaper.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
way cheaper.
I've been to
Um,
Spain. It didn't seem cheaper at all.
Also people respect each other like on a different level. Like I feel like in other parts of the world, like people were actually brought up with like morals and like to be able to like care about like another human being. Like
Yeah.
here, everybody's just about the rat race. Everybody's just about themselves.
It's like a big
And
New
it's-
York.
exactly, it's a machine.
Yeah.
It's a huge
Yeah.
machine. Like capitalism has taken over to the point where we can't even live a normal life
Yeah.
because we're stuck up to here in the rat race.
And they
You
like
know what I mean? So
Well-
I agree with it. Like if I could have left 5 years ago, I would have left 5 years ago. I just have a kid.
Yeah.
Like
And you're not wrong about the rat race thing, because I have seen it just, being born in 81, I graduated at 14 early, and then I went to work immediately. And work, even in that short amount of period, even just that almost 30 years, almost that 30-year period, work has changed so dramatically. In the 80s, when my parents were married, my mother never worked ever. No, she volunteered her services at the church to work in the office.
you didn't
but she
need a
didn't.
two-income household.
Never needed that. And my father didn't make crazy money as a pastor. He made $500 a week, and we got the house for free.
Wow.
That was it.
Yeah.
But in the 80s, that was enough.
You
That
know
was
what
enough to support a family of four.
You know what else is better overseas? The food.
yes,
The food,
it's
they don't-
real
Yes.
food.
They don't
Yes,
let them
yes.
poison their
It's
citizens.
real fucking food. Like
Well,
I went
let's
to the Philippines and like you would look at the back of a cereal box and it literally said corn, flour, sugar.
yeah. Well,
Here-
and that
Metro type sex diet and like all types
Well,
of crazy
It's
shit.
chemistry over here.
I used to do a joke about this, about Coke. And I said, everybody's talking about Mexico like it's a worse place. If it's so much worse than America, why come their Coke is so much better? We have to import it back. Like their Coca-Cola,
How do they get it?
like we invented Coca-Cola, but we shit on ours so much
We
that
try
now
to
we
kill
got to
each
get
other
it back
every
from the
time.
Mexicans. Are you kidding me?
we try to kill
Even when
each
the
other.
drug should be doing it
Yeah,
itself,
the
right? Like,
drug-
Yeah, it's
We
crazy.
trying to kill. We out.
But
to
no, having lived
fentanyl or fast.
no, but I
Fentanyl or
completely
diabetes.
agree.
like, what are you doing?
I completely agree with the food thing. It's part of the reason why I love going to Europe. I loved when I lived there. At every country in the European Union, they all have the same regulations, standards on food. And yeah, you can't just poison people and shit. So I completely agree. Capitalism is, but being a Black American on top of it, so you have to deal with all the same capitalist bullshit that I have to deal with trying to make it through. But I don't have to worry about the cops shooting me necessarily all the time,
But
just
maybe
because
your
I
kids-
move too quick.
maybe your kids are cool. But you know
My
what?
kids, if I have a kid, they're homeschooled, period.
Yeah,
I'm not
'cause
going
they
there.
might get shot up in the schools because we're too violent. And that's another reason Americans are leaving. But you know what? It's so violent, it's spilling over into the football games. And I knew that this was coming, guys. I knew that eventually someone would end up getting killed at a football game. It's probably happened, and I just had
It has. It's happened before.
football games are out of control. Dolphins fans are getting out of control. Football fans are out of control. Who's to blame? Why are games like that?
I'll take the lead here, just as the only one
You're
with the.
made-
Well,
I
just
love
because, with the only one with a Y chromosome, I'm just going to take the lead because I've been in.
Doesn't mean shit, but okay.
Okay, whatever. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I mean, the fact that the whole country is talking about how now young girls are getting into football, but only because Taylor Swift is coming to the games. I thought maybe
last week. Okay.
I thought maybe that might have something to do with it, but no. Having gone to football games my whole life, and especially Dolphins games, lots and lots of Dolphin games. In fact, but I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, so. There was a time period there for about 5 years where the Titans and the Dolphins played each other every year. So I'd go with my group of buddies from high school and we'd all go together. They're all Dolphins fans. I'm a Titans fan. So I'm the one in different jersey standing out. It gets a little fucking aggressive, especially if the home team's losing. Like you might get you might get a battery thrown at you or something. I think it's just that baser male testosterone, like I mixed with that kind of like tribalism, I think that bleeds over into politics too. I think a lot of these pent up, these pent up middle-aged white men with in the GOP that stormed the Capitol. They're not storming the Capitol because they think they're actually going to change anything. They're just like, you're in the wrong tribe and I'm going to make you pay for it. That's that same bullshit that flows through all of sports and all through male interactions, to be honest.
To be honest with you, I feel like NBA fans are a lot worse.
Oh, really?
Well,
yes,
the NBA is still the only one to have players fight fans openly. The Pistons
crazy.
And if you don't believe me, go on YouTube. Detroit Pistons brawl with the fans. It's there.
I do.
It's also men to blame on that. So what I don't know. I think it's just like Terry said, it smelled testosterone, the tribalism. And then on top of that, the environment that they give you at a football game, like the sensory overload I had when I worked a Texans game was insane. It was so loud. They were like flying shit over our head, exploding things, like they were shooting cannons and all this stuff was going on. And then people started to get riled up and then eventually started fighting. And I was like, I ain't never working these games again because it's just I could see it
was like the perfect storm of chaos.
Yeah, I could see that. And I had worked baseball games and they might have gotten a little like mouthy, but they never got like where I felt unsafe. And I felt unsafe around football fans when it was a grandma and a kid going back and forth like they were about to fight. I was like, this is just it spreads over from the men.
I think maybe because it's a contact sport. Like
baseball's
not really a contact sport. So like the fans, they need to make contact too.
Well, you're watching people getting wrecked out on the field, and then somebody talks some shit and be like, "I could wreck you too." Yeah,
something to do with it. Yeah, I think
I'm gonna wreck you like Tua.
I mean, that's
because like I'm telling you, girl, like NBA fans are the worst fans out of all the sports.
And I never got to work a basketball game.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge basketball fan. I love football too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Dolphins fan, but
she's right though. NBA fans. I was at a Memphis when I lived in Memphis. I was at a Memphis Grizzlies, Oklahoma City Thunder, which they're rivals, and it was a playoff game, and it went into triple overtime. It was bananas. But that you could have struck a match and blew that place with the tension that was in there.
And it's not just the men at those. Honestly, if you look up the YouTube videos, I want to say like 60% of them are women, like being disrespectful.
I'm telling you, it's like it's the culture. It's the like crazy sports culture.
I think she has a good point with the contact sports with football. But then also basketball, the leads changes so fast and there's so much scoring. Like you get your intensity is at a different level. You go to a baseball game, what's the word? You're gonna have too many beers, get drunk, and throw up a few hot dogs. That's it. That's all that's gonna happen.
Yep.
You know what's not a slow game? The Israeli Palestinian conflict. And
good try. I'll give you a good try for that one.
Thank you. Now Iran is stepping in and they're making belt threats to help out everyone fleeing from the West Bank and Gaza.
Oh,
So,
Iran.
like, why is Iran stepping in?
I'm gonna let you go because I'm gonna go for a second. So
You know, we ain't gonna do that tonight because we did it last week.
What's that?
Yes, we ain't gonna spend too much time on this topic.
Okay.
I think Iran's making veiled threats because the Palestinians need help from somebody, and like they're Arabic. I'm sorry, it has to be Hezbollah, but I mean, the way the international community is not helping and is only like making Israel more emboldened to do what they're doing. I think that as long as that's going on, yeah, you're gonna have other Islamic countries stepping up. It wasn't just Iran; it was also Qatar, the president or whatever you call the prince.
Qatar.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
my uncle was stationed there and he called it Qatar, but yeah, Qatar.
Well, you should tell him that. But
that's what
Israel. Well, I mean, Iran is widely believed to have financed the original Hamas attack, and Hamas said publicly that they appreciate the financial support from Iran. So, I mean, it's not breaking news that Iran hates Israel. I mean, this is why the international community has worked so hard to keep nukes out of Iran's hands, because they know they'll use them. And when you talk about Israel well, listen, nobody told Hamas to go in and try to overthrow Israeli cities. You know what I mean? We can talk about what Israel did, and some of those forced evacuations, to reclaim Jewish neighborhoods. All that, I understand that aspect of it, but there's only one group here cutting off heads of children. You know what I mean?
That did not happen, Terry.
Okay, I'm not saying it did. I'm not saying it didn't. But what I am saying, okay, did they kidnap more than 100 people and then kill over 700 people during the semi-invasion? Okay, well, at some point you have to say that it's okay to defend yourself too.
At some point, you've killed all the. Let me just get in here. You've killed all the civilians in Palestine. That there's only children left to like even fight. That's who they're killing. Our kids.
Here, I said this before.
Our guest point, though. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. You cut me off right before. I'm just saying, like I said last week on this, it was a really dumb decision on Hamas's part and Palestinians in Gaza that supported this. It was a really dumb decision because we know these two are at odds. They've been at odds for decades. One wants the other gone and the other wants the other gone. But by trying to do this little half-assed invasion thing, you have given Israel every excuse in the world, as far as the international community is concerned, to fucking absolutely decimate you. It was a dumb move.
What do you think?
I think it's a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot. And I think that it's a very sad state in the world when we're killing children. Like,
that's what religion does.
That's my take on it. Like,
your children dying on both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm a big advocate for. Actually hate religion, like, if we're being honest, because I feel like it creates these type of conflicts, right? Like, I feel like if these people were clearly really connected to God, they would see the problem and the fault in killing fucking kids. Like, like that. I get that there's been decades upon decades of people fighting over like this holy land or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
I get that. Like, I understand that.
But it's holy land for all three Abrahamic religions.
But why not just fucking share it? Like, what the fuck?
Because you can't. It's the same reason.
Like, Jesus was a Jew before he was a Christian. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we want to go back and we really want to go back to like different subtexts of like between Muslims and Jews and Christians, like, there is so much in between the three different texts that are so aligned that I wish people would really sit down and read all three bodies.
The Torah
of text.
is in
read the Torah, read the Quran, and read the Bible, and you'll see how much we have in fucking common.
Yeah.
Actually, I have done that as a lifelong preacher son. I have done that. My father is the one my father, the pastor, the Christian pastor, is actually the one that gave me a copy of the Quran, and he gave me a copy of the Torah when I was like 17. He's like, you figure it out, because I was asking too many questions. Yeah. And he's like, you go figure out what's right for you. And I couldn't agree with you more. If you look at them on a timeline, if you look on them in a timeline aspect, they are very, very similar. All of them are
aligned.
It's like watching Catholics fight with Protestants. It's like, you guys are basically the same, minus a few dogma issues.
It's
so stupid
in the whole wide world.
This
is why last week the ultimate blame on this was religion, and it still is. Yeah, you're having these fights for thousands of years because you say my invisible friend is the only invisible friend that's real, and your invisible friend is a threat to my invisible friend. Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
I don't agree.
They're all invisible.
I don't agree with that anymore. I blame white people.
Okay, blame white people then. We're not even involved in this.
Why, Gio?
Well, because they are who created the state of Israel. Because they did.
Whoa, no, that was the international community as a whole.
Let her finish.
They created the state of Israel when Jewish people were being exiled from Europe because they didn't fucking want them in Europe. So they moved them over here, saying, here's your holy land. And they displaced Palestinians when they did that. You
realize that Israelis or Jews were the original occupants of Israel. That's why it's called
You're saying
Israel.
That Palestinians weren't also there.
No, I'm saying that originally it was Jews.
Palestinians being in the fucking Bible.
Okay, listen to me. Originally,
they called Palestine.
Originally, the Jewish community controlled that region. Then were dispersed. Then Palestinians came in, and then there was that. And then, yes, in 1953, that's in 1953.
That's white.
In 1953, the whole world.
Europe, Terry. They said go over here.
1953, the whole world basically got together and said, yes, we're going to reestablish the Jewish state, which was two things. One, to give.
Did y'all have Palestine?
Well, all the victors.
People that lived there?
All the victors from World War II.
White people.
Okay, sure. White people. Basically got together.
They're white people, because my people was on this side.
See, this is
worshiping the sun and shit.
This is why we always end up forking at this road, Gio, because you just want to have someone to blame all the time. You are the blame girl. You're not. You seldomly in a complicated issue like this. You seldomly ever use just rational logic to say, okay, well, what we were supposed to do with the entire.
I just used rational logic.
What were we supposed to do with the entire Jewish community? Just go fuck off?
Colonialism.
No, it was two things. It was given.
Wait, no. You got to stop confusing Jewish people with Israel. They don't all fucking live there.
Well, I understand that, but you realize it's called
There's plenty
Israel.
of Jewish people in America. There's plenty of Jewish people all over the world that don't live in Israel. And I've seen Jewish people say that we got to stop conflating Judaism with Israel, Terry.
And what did I say at the start of this? I said there's a conversation to be had about the Israeli government and some of the decisions they have made and some of the atrocities that they have committed. And I'm not saying, but you gotta, you can't pull this back to 1953 because the whole world basically agreed at that time, literally almost the entire planet agreed that so much shit has happened to the Jewish community over the course of that war that it was half humanitarian saying just go back to a Jewish state in Israel. And the other half was basically an apology.
Go ahead and get out of Europe. Okay, hurry. Because I was
Well, yeah, but the other half was basically an apology saying, sorry, we didn't help sooner. Sorry, 6 million of you died. Sorry, we turned boats full of fleeing
and now
immigrants
you've created
away
a
from
whole
America.
new group, like that's being.
Are you
excised,
seriously going to
being
try and
exterminated.
side with a terrorist organization?
What's
I
that?
feel bad. I feel bad for the Palestinians because the ones that are moderates are caught in the crossfire. But Israel didn't start this. Hamas did, which is an international terrorist group
The instant
that was
attacking,
elected,
the
that
instant-
was elected legally, that was legally elected to power in Palestine. Palestinians
like,
elected
you keep
Hamas as
poking
their
something,
leaders.
they're gonna strike back, and like I don't know what to say. Like they've had all of their land stolen at this point, and the rest of it is gonna be.
It doesn't.
They're
It doesn't
gone.
matter.
They've had
The shame,
families wiped off of
the
face
crime of it, the
because
real
of what
crime of it was
Israel has
because the real crime of it was that because of some of the decisions that the Israeli government made, Palestine was actually starting to get a lot of international support. People in this country were marching for their rights over there. But instead of just waiting and letting that political process work itself out to get to a better place, what they do, storm in with guns and rockets and all this shit and try to take it by force, which they know they were never going to win.
Getting a lot of international support because people see.
No, they're not. They're throwing
Yeah, they
bricks at
are.
them. No, they're not. They're
Your
throwing
media
bricks
is
at them.
biased. Your media is biased.
No, they are
Have
throwing
you watched
bricks at
Fox
them.
News, Terry?
No, I don't watch Fox News. But no, they are throwing bricks at people who are saying they support
NBC.
the people that are saying they're chastising Israel and they're supporting Palestine. They were marching in Harvard Square and they were throwing bricks at them and threatening them and doxing them publicly. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. I will send you articles as soon as we are done.
I'm confused on who you're saying. Okay, yes. Let's move on. I want to see what you're talking about. Maybe to be on next week's show. All right. I want to welcome Dina Cruz officially. We're going to get to know her. How long have you been doing comedy?
Oh, fuck, that's a loaded question. So the very first time I touched a mic, February 11th, 2022. So I'm under 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
I
under
never would
2.
have guessed.
I'm under 2. I know.
How did you get started?
So very good friend of mine is Cisco Duran.
Okay.
We're actually friends like
oh shit, really?
Outside of comedy before that, like we kind of had like the same circle, whatever. And obviously, like your friend, you know what I mean? It's your friend. And me like an asshole.
Yeah.
I didn't know the rules.
Yeah.
So I used to fuck with him all the time and be like, let me write your jokes.
So eventually,
terrible comedian etiquette, right? So I'd be like, come on, let me write for you. Oh my God, I'm so funny. Don't worry. I got you. I could write for you. Like, you know? And he was like, no, bitch, like you're not writing for me. And one night, we were just out, hanging out, just chilling. Oh, I'm in town type of vibe. Oh, okay, let me go see my friend. Let's chill, whatever. I'll never forget it. I went to go see him. I don't know if it was the Shelbourne or the Shore Club. It was like one of those hotels at the beach, like one of those like bar shows type of thing. It's like, oh, come see me, whatever. It was funny because it was him, Danny, you know, Danny Cream City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was him and Danny, and they were there. And drinking green tea, like tequila shot, like all I was fucked up. I was all types of fucked up.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, let's go to Taurus.
Okay.
I know nothing about the comedy scene at this point. Okay. So he's like, oh, let's go to Taurus. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like I've been to Taurus before. It's a fucking bar. Oh, you know. So we get there and go to the end of the bar. I'm getting drinks for us, whatever. I come back and he's like, oh, I put us on the list. And I'm like, what fucking list? This is the bar. Like there's no VIP here. There's no bouncer behind a velvet rope. What list are you talking about? Like you're crazy. You lost your mind. bitch, he put me on the open mic list.
Yeah, that's what it sounded
and
That's what it sounded like.
and he was like, yeah, you're next. And I went up there, no jokes.
Yeah.
And
No jokes.
no
Of
jokes.
course not. You
No
never
joke.
were ready.
That's
I
that's
had
the
no
way you
idea.
want to do it, really.
No,
That's the way you
and,
want to do it.
And I touched the
Bomb
mic.
right out the gate, so you know what
And
it's like.
I did okay. I
Yeah.
did okay, right? Because I was just talking shit. And then you know what's crazy about that? Like I didn't touch another mic for 6 months.
Okay.
I didn't.
So February
I didn't touch from
2020.
February to August. I didn't touch another mic.
2020.
2022.
Okay.
We're talking.
So you took a 6-month
Um,
break.
I took a 6 month break. And the reason why is because after that first mic, I went home and I told my mom, I was like, hey mom, I think I'm gonna be a stand-up comedian. And my Puerto Rican mother looked at me and was like, you're not that funny. You
That's what
shouldn't
my
do
mom
that
said.
shit.
Yeah, that's what my mom said.
She was like, no, you're not that funny. You shouldn't do that shit. And I believed her. I believed her
So
for 6
you
months.
waited for 6 months before getting
I
back out.
swear to God, I didn't touch another mic for 6 months. And then it was weird because I was just like at home one day and I was like, why am I not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then I went to Thank You. Thank You's like my homeroom.
Yeah.
Like I work out all types of
Thank
stuff
you, Miami.
there. Yeah, Thank You.
Well,
Miami.
that brings me to my next question.
I love I
What's your-
love that your mom said, "Oh, you're not that funny."
No,
'Cause
that's
that's
what
what-
I'm naming my Netflix special.
No, no,
If
no.
my
It's not
mom
even
says
that.
I'm not that funny.
It's not even.
I
It's
swear
not
to
even that.
God.
Okay, and that's fine. But because everybody says that I've heard that so many times from so many people, as if being funny had anything to do with being a successful comedian. There's plenty of funny folks out there. Plenty. Plenty of funny folks working at
what's crazy?
Target. It's got nothing to do with that. Nothing. 90% of your work is off stage.
Hey, you're always
So-
funny twice a day. Or like, okay, anyway.
That's close enough.
But I want to move on.
This wasn't one of those times.
What is your what has become your favorite venue? And you can't say
The improvs. No improvs.
No, the improv is cheating.
Yes, it's too easy. Everybody would say that. It's
So
fine.
easy, so easy,
Yes.
so easy. So my favorite venue,
mhm.
favorite venue, probably Dom's on a Tuesday in Brickell.
Interesting.
That's my
It's
favorite
an
venue.
interesting choice.
Dom's on a Tuesday in Brickell.
It
It's a
makes me
very
feel like I gotta
honest
give it
crowd.
another shot because I went. It was okay. You know?
It's a really honest crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And right now I'm kind of working more on my crowd work than my
Yeah.
pen.
Yeah.
And they're just for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm.
I noticed that tonight you were working on you were doing some crowd work.
We
I wanna do more crowd work because I feel like it's a muscle, right? Like everything.
Yeah.
Like,
well, be
You
careful.
gotta be
pen is a
well-rounded.
muscle, so you kind of have to.
Be careful with this. We discussed this on the podcast either last week or the week before, because it's become very popular to post crowd work on social media and TikTok and all these things. But you got to remember your audience is watching this too. So when your audience comes out to see you, it's almost like now it's expected for them to fuck with you.
Yeah.
So you're kind of creating your own demon there.
So I
you know?
want them to expect that.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
that's my thing, right? Like
All right.
I
You
don't
feel like that's your
want-
market is like
No, it's not even about a market. Like I feel like, okay, like my closer. You know what my closer is. Like if I was to post my closer on the internet, the mystery is gone.
yeah.
Why
Sure,
do I
yeah.
have to go see Dina? I could see her jokes online all day, you know?
Right.
So I feel like crowd work is safe because it's still content. You're still pumping out some type of something to entertain people, but in the same token, you're protecting your pen.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that part.
You know?
I agree. That's why there's only like 2 or 3 videos of me online after 12 years of comedy. There's still only like 2 or 3 videos because I want to protect my written material.
Yeah.
However, what I'm saying is the people who see you online and they see you doing crowd work and they see you interacting with the crowd, it can create a thing of where they come out and it's now expected of them to get involved with you on the stage. So you have to be prepared for creating that monster.
Yeah, because
You know,
maybe
So-
when you're not wanting them to.
So what's
engage
funny
you.
is that
you're trying to do your closer, and this guy won't shut the fuck up because he wants to be in the
but
next
I'm
TikTok
not scared
video.
to tell somebody to shut the fuck up. I actually do it very frequently.
And I bet very efficiently. I bet very efficiently too.
And you know what's crazy is that I do it in such a way that like it's okay. Like they laugh about it. You know? Like,
I don't know if she's told you. I don't know if Gia has told you, but I am very much not afraid to tell somebody to shut the fuck up. Like I have screamed at people enough to where ladies start crying at me. Like
chill. Not like that either. So true story, right? So last week, Ellie Rodriguez, you guys, Ellie fucking Rodriguez.
Y'all remember
Love this
Ellie?
bitch.
I love you. Bye.
So it's funny because last week, I don't remember if it was Monday or Friday. I was actually at Thank You. And there was this one woman who was like literally fucking with every single comedian that went on stage. And we're still talking about like showcase time. Like this is not open mic time. So she's sitting there, she's fucking with every single comedian, right? So the comedian before me, obviously all the comedians before me were all guys.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody's gonna be disrespectful to her because they're guys, so they're gonna be respectful. So comedian before me, Raul Colom, very good with crowd work, very good with impromptu stuff. Sits there and kind of like dissects like the story, you know. Turns out she's been divorced several times, and she tells him, he's like, okay, so like, how did your ex-husbands get you to be quiet? And she's like, oh no, they just told me to shut the fuck up. So he keeps rolling with it, but he doesn't tell her anything. So immediately I get on stage right after and I looked at her and I was like, hey, shut the fuck up. Crowd roars.
Does she shut the fuck up?
She did.
Of course.
She shut the fuck up.
Of course.
So I'm very quick to be like, hey, look, I'm a fucking attention whore.
Like,
this is my show. This is not your show. Like, you're just here to add value to what the fuck we're doing for the collective. And people are usually receptive.
Like Terry for the BlameGirl. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure that you can handle any situation that comes up. But
I want to keep it moving.
You gotta shut them down eventually.
It's late over here, Terry. All right. So have you done any traveling? I know you're pretty new.
I have. I actually did a show in Georgia. Nice. I've done some mics in Texas. So I've done a little bit.
Nice.
A little bit.
Do you have a favorite moment you want to tell us about since you've been doing it? A proudest moment, anything that you've done that you feel like
favorite moment
makes you happy when you think about it?
Favorite moment, I actually did a set in front of my kids.
Okay.
I did.
At a venue or just like at home?
At a venue.
How did it go?
At a venue. It went pretty well.
And your kid laughed. You made your kid laugh?
So the funny part about it, my daughter's 14.
I was like, how's your kid first?
She's 14. We're not talking about like a little kid,
or
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a grown-up.
I'm glad you said that because I was thinking like 4. Yeah.
He was like, what the fuck is this?
You don't look like you have a 14-year-old.
No, I have a 14-year-old. I am old. I am almost 40. So
come join us.
My daughter's 14. And it's funny because on the way to the set, I was kind of like, I had some reservations and like, just, you know how like you're just out loud thinking to yourself. And I was like, fuck, I can't tell that joke. Like I made the statement in the car.
The kids came in tonight.
And and she looked at me and she literally was like, Mom, it's okay. I know you have sex. I'm here.
Oh, wow. What a well-rounded child.
So yeah, she immediately became part of my set. And she had a good time. And the funny part about it is that I kind of relish in that fact just because my daughter's been my ride or die. My daughter's seen me go through everything. My daughter's seen me do this, do that. And it was a moment where I actually told the joke on stage and I said what she said in the car, and it was funny and it was hilarious. And I've never seen my kid kind of be more proud of her mom. Like,
Cute.
you know what I mean?
And they
So
made you,
that
and that's
was
like one of
my
your favorite moments.
yeah, that's my favorite moment in comedy by far.
What has been your biggest challenge then?
Oof, challenge.
Besides
I think
being a
the pretty
woman.
factor,
What's that?
like the pretty factor, like the pretty people factor. Like pretty girls aren't supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
Pretty girls aren't supposed to have a sense of humor. They aren't supposed to have like a personality.
He just said besides being having a vagina, but
Well, no, I just laughing at the
I
pretty
mean,
girl thing
it's
because I thought
it's true.
well,
Like, I actually have to dress down for sets because I feel like when I dress the way I want to dress, people don't laugh the same.
really,
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And I think it's because like my jokes are less believable. You know what I mean? Even though it's
have you
legit
met
my
Abby
life.
Bolin?
Yes, I love Abby. I
You can
fucking
do
love
it.
Abby.
You can put. You can put.
Um,
I
I don't agree
no,
with
I
this
can't do it.
at
It
all.
doesn't work for me.
What do you think, Terry? You can be sexy and funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know plenty of dudes that are, you know, got their tongues dragging over Sarah Silverman or,
But she don't dress
Amy-
real sexy.
well, she doesn't dress real sexy, but you know, pretty girl thing is what she is what you
Yeah,
said.
I went to Ho.
You know,
me.
or even Whitney Cummings is another one that springs to mind. Eliza Schlesinger is
Yeah.
another one that springs to mind. But I was laughing. I was laughing because I thought
totally get that.
hang on, I thought you were going to go a totally different direction with that.
What do you
When
mean?
you said, well, my biggest challenge is the pretty girl factor. And I thought you were going to be very typical in the way that you were like, oh, you know, I'm not pretty enough to be these things, or I'm not this, or I'm
too pretty.
yeah, and then you completely flip it, and you're like, yeah, see, I'm too pretty to be funny is the problem. And I was like, oh shit, I thought she was going to do the self.
I want to keep it moving because I feel like
I thought you were going to do the
trying to get us outta
self-deprecating
here
woman
soon.
thing, and you were like, no, I'm too good for this.
Okay, so just tell us a little bit about yourself quickly. Like, where are you from? Do you have a day job? We know you have a kid. Are you married?
Super single. Obviously, right? Like nobody wants to date a fucking stand-up comedian. Two, yes, I have a 14-year-old. Day job, I scam old people for the federal government. I sell Medicare. I'm an insurance broker. What else did you ask me?
I think that was
I don't know, but all the pieces are starting to fall into
where am I
place here.
from? I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican. I was born in Brooklyn. I've been raised in both Brooklyn and Miami. So that's my background.
That explains it all, the Puerto Rican side.
I've been exposed.
I was engaged to a girl who's half Puerto Rican, half Crucian. So
oh wow, yeah. No, we're crazy. Yeah.
A lot of fire.
Yeah, we're insane.
Do you have any
we didn't make it to the wedding. I know.
Do you have any other projects like podcasts or
haven't started my podcast yet. That's something that I'm kind of like thinking about just because I want to launch it the right way. I want to do something the right way. I do have a room. I have a room in Doral every Wednesday, DC Pico.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, well, not when I was hosting it, but it's my room now. So you can definitely come through. What else? What am I doing?
After the improv, that roast night we
yeah. Let me see. Doing the Dania Beach improv on the 22nd. Honestly, I am like in a mode where it's like the last quarter of the year. I feel like I'm grateful enough to have accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish in comedy here in my second year. So I think next year is all about traveling and networking and getting out there and just
putting out
putting out content, just going, you know.
All right. Are you ready to play the blame game?
Okay, let's go.
Shit. Okay. The music got loud. No, okay. You spell your name really weird on Instagram. And maybe
Me?
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Who's to blame? Why did you go with that spelling? And spell it for everyone.
Because I'm tired of people mispronouncing my name.
I figured that's
My name is not Dina. It is Dina. So it is phonetically spelled on all platforms.
it's like D period no.
NU 3 H's D.na like Dina.
And that's on all platforms?
On all platforms.
Perfect, perfect.
Well, that's a little bananas because I mean Dina's pretty much Dina in every language. I don't get why you get the Dina thing. I don't know who you're hanging out with, but you need some better class of friends.
They want us to wrap up. That's why they.
Well, people usually expect it to be DEENA.
Oh, that's too white person.
When they
for
see
that.
the INA, they're like, you know,
all right.
Fuck it up.
They can catch you here at Dania Improv.
November 22nd.
November 22nd.
Day before Thanksgiving.
And
I'll be hosting for co-headliners Cisco Duran and Gene Harding.
Nice.
And every Wednesday, DC Pico. You can follow me on Instagram, all platforms, D.na. That's 3 H's at the end. Yeah, I'm all over the place.
all right.
So-
You heard that. Follow Dina, not Dinah. All right. Terry, you got words for white people this week?
I do, and we're going back to words for actual whites. We're doing honkies this week again. And I just wanted to, just after the week that I've had with my father-in-law, it just got me to thinking about a lot of things. Plus going back to Memphis, seeing my old haunts, seeing old family members. So this week it's the word is family. That's it. Just family. And when I say family, I don't necessarily mean the people that are, born to you by blood or come to you by marriage. The family that I'm talking about is the people that we choose to have around us, whether it be blood relations or not. They're the ones that we're choosing to have in our little weird worlds and to, let peek behind the curtain where the people that if they call and say they're coming over, you don't clean up the house, you don't specifically stop and clean up the house. It's like, no, they know me at my dirty, and it's fine. Those are the people that I'm talking about, because over the last few years, I have seen so many relationships get strained, get tossed out, get left beside because of politics or conspiracy theories or this or that, or, somebody's too woke and this person's not woke enough, or this person went up and fell into a QAnon, wormhole online or this or that. Just remember, at the end of the day, no matter what you believe, no matter how much you believe in it, and no matter how big of a deal you think it is, the ones that are actually going to matter in your life is that family you choose. So no matter what the issue is, no matter how important it may be to you, don't sacrifice the baby for the bathwater, because it is the family you choose. Like Gio here, I chose to let her into my weird world. And no matter how much we argue, no matter how much we bicker on here like an old married couple, I would never let any of those things come between us, because it's so vitally important to your day-to-day life to keep those people around you. They'll keep you centered. They'll keep you level. So don't let some petty little temporary bullshit get in the way of that.
Amen. I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah. And as far as me, you can buy the book on Amazon. It is called Unclaimed Ashes. It is available now. The new book, it hopefully will be out by the end of this year.
Perfect.
That one's called Fill It to the Brim, Please. And say hi to Cisco for me. I've known that guy for over a decade.
Will do.
He's the first, notably, he is the first comic I ever booked. He was my headliner at my first room when I did feature showcases.
I honestly will love my friend forever for showing me an art form I didn't even know I needed.
Super nice guy, super sweet.
You would have found your way, girl.
Yeah, he needs to get on Atkins or something, but super sweet guy.
All right.
So.
I can be found at my next event is Florida's Funniest again. I did it last week. I didn't advance on Saturday. But I hopefully will make it in. I'm in St. Lucie on Thursday at Cielo Lounge. And then on Friday and Saturday, I'm doing my first titled feature spot at the Boca Black Box 2.0. So come out,
Nice.
support if you can. Jason. All right. Other than that, we'll see y'all next week.